Along with Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron and Michelle Williams, Melbourne-based actor Sam Humphrey is starring in one of the great movies of the year, The Greatest Showman. It's the story of P.T. Barnum, a fantastic movie and one you should all go and see. Sam plays Captain Tom Thumb in a magnificent role. To realise his dream of becoming an actor, Sam had to overcome many challenges in his life. However, his dream came true. And to tell us of that remarkable journey, I've got Sam Humphrey live on the line from LA. Sam, welcome in.
Hi, thank you very much.
Lovely to have you here, pal. You're a Melburnian, ex-New Zealander, I think, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
You made the big move across to us.
I did, I made that move in 2006, Melbourne.
2006, was it? And you
Yeah.
haven't looked back since.
No, I haven't. I've been back to New Zealand a few times, but
Yeah.
I haven't moved back.
Sam, it's been quite a journey for you, hasn't it?
Yes, it has been.
Tell us about that journey.
So I've always wanted to be an actor since I was very young, from about the age of 5. And then it was probably about the age of 8 that I really took it seriously. And my biggest inspiration was Hugh Jackman. I saw him on in the big screen doing X-Men.
Right.
And basically, I sort of said, that's the guy I want to be like, and I want to follow in his footsteps as an actor. So I suppose fast forward to, like 2 years ago, I auditioned for The Greatest Showman when I found out that Hugh was playing the lead. And yeah, I really said to myself that I had to nail the role and nail the audition, because it was always been my dream to be in the, cinemas on the big screen and to act beside my childhood hero, Hugh Jackman.
Well, you certainly got to do that. You mentioned there acting from about the age of 8. Let's take it back a little bit before that, because your health hadn't been 100%. Can you tell the listeners what went on and what you had to overcome to become an actor and that dream come true for you?
Yeah, sure. So from a very young age, I struggled with a lot of my self-esteem, my confidence, because I have a very rare condition called acrodysplasia. In plain terms, it basically means I'm very short. My bones never grew to that of, a normal height person, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
And along with that, it came with a lot of health issues. So I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease quite late in life, but the doctor said that I always had Crohn's disease, so it was something that I had from a very young age, but they just didn't diagnose it till late. So with that, it meant, I always got very sick, and I was always needing to take things easy, and I was in the hospital all the time. I've had multiple operations for different reasons. And then also with that, with the condition of acrodysplasia, it meant that I didn't fully mature until very late in life, probably around about the age of 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
So that, came with a few, emotional issues that I had to deal with as well.
If I read correctly, you were given about 18 years. The doctors didn't think you'd live beyond 18. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So because they hadn't really seen anything like my case before, and it's such a very rare condition to be diagnosed with, they weren't sure what my life expectancy would be.
Right.
And so they were sort of giving like a guesstimate as to, how long my life could be with this kind of a condition. And so they said 18 was roughly, where I would probably get to before it'd start really affecting me and take a toll on my life.
And that would have been an enormous problem to you, because you'd have downers over all of that, wouldn't you? Thinking, I'm 18 or I'm approaching 18, what am I going to do next?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's why I actually suffered with depression as a teenager. because of that very reason. Because, for me, every year that went on, it was like, I'm approaching the age, where doctors said my life expectancy, was at its end. So, as well as another thing, I struggled with suicide because, for me, it was that thing where, well, if I'm going to sort of, die around the age of 18, then what point is there? To me, it was like, should I get it over and done with kind of thing? And, I mean, I know that's not something that, we should be thinking, but, that was what I was thinking at the time.
Sam, it must have been a dreadful time, but you did prove the doctors wrong. You're now 23 years of age. You've got that dream come true. You've been on Neighbours. How was Neighbours for you?
Neighbours was amazing because for me, like, that was my first real, role, like paid role as well. Now I had like smaller gigs where I did get paid for it, but they were like, one-off little things.
Mm-hmm.
But then landing the role on Neighbours, like, it was a reoccurring role. It wasn't necessarily about my size, even though they did address, my size. My role didn't have anything to do with my size. It was something that made my character more interesting because I was short. So that was amazing that they created that role and they addressed the issue of my height like once, and then we moved past it.
Now, from the Neighbours, of course, you were then spotted by some spotters who are out there all the time, I believe, to audition for this movie. How did the audition process come about? Tell me.
So Neighbours was also screened in the UK. So I believe that the casting company that was casting The Greatest Showman had seen me in the UK. Now, my UK agency, which I'm signed with now, wasn't at the time. They must have been contacted by the casting company, and they sent me an email saying that they had this audition, and that if I was to sign on with them, they would arrange the audition and they would take it from there.
Right.
So I signed with them, and they sent me all the scripts and they sent me the audition tape. And the funny thing was, once I got that, they said, the deadline for it is very tight. You have 48 hours to audition.
Right.
So at that point, I was thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to get this done? I've got 48 hours to, read over the script, get it memorized, make the role, really, to a, audition performance and everything. And it was a bit stressful, I got to be honest, but, it's history now.
So what happened then when you got the email to say, hey, you got this part?
Basically, like, down the line when we got the email that the studio had approved, my casting in the role of Tom Thumb, I got to be honest, I looked at the email and I was very stunned. It took me a couple of minutes to process, the fact that a big studio like 20th Century Fox had decided to cast someone, that didn't have a name in the acting industry to a big film like this, especially beside my acting hero, Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
It was stunning to me.
Well, he's become your mentor, hasn't he?
He has indeed, yes.
I said to you on Facebook, I've interviewed Hugh on about 3 occasions. I found him a lovely, lovely gentleman. And one of the things that I've noticed with Hugh, he never forgets a name. If I was walking down the street in Melbourne and he was walking down, we meet each other, he'd say to me, "G'day, Leigh, how are you?" He just never forgets.
Oh, he's incredible.
Isn't he?
He's the sweetest guy you'll ever meet.
He's a wonderful guy, and I'm so glad he's your mentor. He's become your good friend too, which is really lovely.
Mm.
What's it like working with Hugh?
Well, for me, my experience by working with Hugh has been absolutely incredible because as this has been my first big feature film, it can be very intimidating, especially working with a lot of big names in the industry. So obviously there was Hugh, and then there was Zach, and then there was Zendaya and Michelle and Rebecca Ferguson. So it was very intimidating to be on a set with so many big names where, you know, I'm the underdog and I'm the little guy who's come from Frankston, Australia to New York and do this. But Hugh really helped me along with the whole process where he made it a very comfortable set, like not just to me, but to everyone. So everyone like felt very, very safe on set and very, you know, very open. And so my very first scene that I actually had to do with Hugh, it was kind of an emotion scene. It was when Hugh comes to meet me for the very first time at my little cabin. And so he's trying to recruit me to join his show. Now that scene, I was very intimidated and very stunned because we were in like this little room with probably like, you know, probably about 30 people in the actual room watching us, and then, you know, about probably 80 other people outside watching the cameras.
Yeah.
Now I found it very hard to get into character on that first day because Hugh was, you know, right in front of me, and I was still a little bit intimidated and stunned that I was, you know, face to face with, you know, my childhood hero. And I couldn't get into character. But Hugh, being the sweetest guy that he is, he broke character, and then he like put his hand on my shoulder, and he started like giving me like this speech. He gave me the speech where he was saying like, you know, I'm really talented, I'm really special, I'm unique. Out of everyone else that auditioned, I was chosen, and, you know, that I'm here in New York, and I have something, you know, special to bring to the film. And so he was being like really, you know, he was just being Hugh. And so eventually it got me quite emotional, and I did break down in tears. That was when Michael, our director, basically whispered. He said, all right, now start saying your line and just keep saying it. So I started saying my line, I kept on saying it, and then Hugh would say his line, and then our director would whisper, now turn around and walk away. And so I just listened to that, and I turned around. I'm crying. The cameras are still rolling. I turned around and I walked away into the bedroom and closed the door. And they called cut, and it was phenomenal. I mean, yeah.
That's a wonderful insight.
More of the behind the scenes.
Yes,
take.
my word, that's a wonderful insight into how you had to handle all of that.
And I mean, with that experience, I mean, as emotional as it was for me, like, I wouldn't trade that for the world. That's one of the moments on set that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. And for the rest of the filming, I kept on drawing on that experience to, you know, do my other scenes, which was amazing.
Well, looking at the movie, and I've seen it twice now, you would not know that you were nervous. You've come across so beautifully. You're a magnificent actor. You really, really are. Well, what's in store for you now, Sam? Is other lead or other roles been offered to you?
At this moment, I think we're sort of just seeing what comes in. Nothing's really been offered to me. I've got a few things in the works, and at the moment, I'm still looking at agency representation.
Right.
And I have a manager at the moment, and we're sort of just working on getting me an agent here in LA, and then sort of going from there. But everything is looking pretty good, and with everyone loving The Greatest Showman, I'm very positive that there will be, you know, roles coming my way.
I had to smile last week when I read that on your Facebook page that you were about to head off to church, and you got a phone call to say get on a plane and come to LA for the Golden Globes. That must have been exciting.
It was. It was also a little bit stressful, to be honest, because it was so short notice that it was like, are you able to make it to the Golden Globes? I'm like, when's the Golden Globes? I'd love to come.
Yes.
They're like, it's you know, tomorrow, it's on Sunday. I'm like, it's a 15-hour plane ride to get to LA, right? They're like, we know, but it would be an amazing, experience and good exposure for you to be here.
Of course.
I'm like, so I'm thinking, I know this opportunity is amazing. What can I do to get there? So literally scrambled to find a flight and get to LA to do the Golden Globes. And I made it here. I don't know how, but I made it
got
here.
there.
And I went to the Golden Globes.
What was the night like? Exciting for you?
It was absolutely incredible. I'm not going to lie, it was very overwhelming for me. Oh, sorry, 1 moment.
That's all right. You've got a visitor there. That's nice.
Yes, I have a dog. Like Stella. Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all right. So you got to the Golden Globes and you enjoyed those, and you were about to say that, you were nervous there, were you? Or?
So I wasn't nervous. It was more just that with everything going on, it was such an overwhelming experience.
Yes.
And as you may have seen on my social media, that I've been putting up some pictures of a lot of the, other stars that I got to meet, which was absolutely incredible. Because I've only ever seen them, on TV or in the movies. So being able to actually meet them and chat to them and, see how amazing they are, it's just, it's all part of the dream experience that, keeps coming true for me, which is unbelievable.
Sam, I think you've got the world at your fingertips right now, and I just hope that we see you in many, many more feature films that come, and of course working back here in Australia too. We might see you back on Neighbours too. I read the other day something your brother said about you, and this is a lovely little quote. Your brother said, "I am so proud of you, Sam Humphrey. You made your disadvantage into the entire reason for fulfilling your dream." Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, it's such an amazing thing that, my brother put up on LinkedIn. He's always doing stuff like that for me. So, yeah, he and my sister and the rest of my family are, incredibly proud of me and, what I've managed to achieve despite, what I've overcome. And I know a lot of people said that, I'm a great inspiration for what I've achieved. And sometimes I look at it in the way that I'm like, I understand that it's an inspiration, that I am an inspiration, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, it was just, my lot to go through in life.
Yes.
That's how I see it sometimes.
Well, Sam, I think you are an inspiration, and to so many people, and I know my audience today are going to listen to this, and they're going to be saying, how inspirational is that story? You're going to motivate other people, I'm sure. It's a wonderful, wonderful story. Sam, congratulations to you. I'd love to see you live in the studio when you're back into Frankston, and we can have a chat eye to eye. And when you see Hugh next, say that Leigh Drew from Radio 3AK, that's where I was working in those days, says hi to him.
Right.
I'd love you to.
Sure, definitely.
Sam, thank you very, very much for your time today, mate, and safe travels.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Here's one of the songs from The Greatest Showman.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a blood